You ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. With me, how are you? Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. That's weird. I don't think that's ever happened before. Happy Wednesday. I'm Robert Bannon. This is the Roundtable, and I'm so happy that you're here on the day before my kids come to my 5th grade classroom. No, I'm excited to meet the new kiddos. I want to shout out to our loyal watcher, my buddy, lots of lattes, Janelle. Thank you so much. She sent me this care package for 5th grade strong. How do you not love that with a sweet note? Thank you. That mug will be on my desk and that shirt will be worn on our first dress down day. I promise to show you a picture of it. How's everybody doing today? We have a legend with us today. Oba Babatunde is here. He is a legend, Emmy winner, Tony nominee, 160 plus credits. He's worked with everybody and he is giving us a masterclass today, part 1, tomorrow, part 2. You're not going to want to miss a moment. Happy Roundtable, Abby. How you doing out there in the UK? Thanks for joining us. So excited to have you here, and so excited to be here tonight and to be here tomorrow, and then the following week. Join me as we celebrate Disney with the one and only, the voice of The Little Mermaid, Ariel herself, Jodie Benson. Exciting, and a lot of fun shows coming. So don't go anywhere. Join me every single week because we have some really big guests coming up that I'm really excited about as well. Hi, Christine. Hi, Roundtablers. How you all doing? Thank you so much for being here, Christine. And we are going to remind you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe this video if you're watching it after the fact. If you're watching it because you found us on Facebook or you found us on a YouTube search or you found us because you saw Oba posted or somebody posted, make sure you like it, comment, and share it. And subscribe to our channel because we do shows every week and we do a bonus show every week. And I hope you enjoyed the bonus show. I know some of you wrote really nice comments. We have a bonus show that's just up right now with the one from the stars of Ease, Mathis Family Matters. Judge Mathis' son, Greg Mathis Jr., and his partner, Elliot Cooper, talk about what it's like coming out in public with a famous father. It's a fascinating conversation that I think you have to watch, and you can stream Mathis Family Matters on E. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. The end of this week, we have a really great other roundtable bonus with Derek Vanderhorst, who is a singer. I told you about him last week. He's a singer who had cancer, throat, and neck, you'll see neck, and he lost his voice, and he had rehabbed his voice and put out an album, and he sings a song for you. I kind of requested. I did. I kind of requested it. I pushed a little bit. Just a little. And next week's Roundtable special guest is Noah J. Ricketts. Noah J. Ricketts, Broadway star. There's my dinner beeping. Noah J. Ricketts, Broadway star who was in Frozen. He played Kristoff in Frozen, and he's in a brand new show with a lot of famous people playing a really cool part. Really famous people. And he's going to break it all down as to why so many of our Broadway favorites are transitioning to television. Don't miss it next week. All right, are you ready for my nonsense? Here we go. Here's the week in review. So last week was my last free week of summer. My dad came home. Thank you, God. He went in the week I got off and was in the hospital and rehab the whole entire time. So Greg, welcome home. We got him home safe and sound, which is the biggest relief of all. Thank goodness. I went out and celebrated. I celebrated my friend Jessica's 40th birthday. That's my best friend, Mike. And we went out and had a good old time at her birthday party. I took the little one to the zoo, my fake children. I took the little Sam to the zoo. Everyone that watches that has kids, happy first day of school to my godchildren upstairs, Natasha and Vanessa, to the little Sam, to everyone who's got kids at home, happy first day of school, and to all the teachers, my condolences. I'm with you. No, we're going to have a good year this year. I know it. And then on Sunday, I did go to Caroline's and I did sit and watch Lunel, who was on our show 2 weeks ago. And she did a 2.5-hour comedy set that is a preview of what's to come for Netflix that will blow your mind. It was not for the weak of heart. And it was not for the PC crowd, but it was fun. Lilius White was there. Amazing. It was a fun night. We had just a blast. a black, truly. It was a dream and fun and ridiculous. If Lunel is coming to your neck of the woods, make sure you check her out. Here we are laughing because I had said to her, she said, please send this picture to my publicist. And my joke was, I'm going to tell her you probably charge too much. And she got a kick out of that. That's the true story. But I love her publicist. Melissa, thank you for setting this up. I told her we're cute. Look what she says back to me. We are cute. Just got home to LA. Yes, holler at me when you get to LA. Hopefully I'll be there. Long distance relations to our trip, though. Yeah, Lunel, I'll be your baby's father. I will be your sugar daddy. I will be whatever you want me to be. I love that woman. She's a legend. And then on Monday, trying to prolong going back to work as much as I could, I saw the beautifully charming Patty Murin of Frozen, who's I've interviewed twice, once for the Broadway Cast Reunion series and once for Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails, and her husband from Chicago Med and a brand new show coming to Peacock. He's such a star, and Colin Donnell, and take a peek at them singing a little Stephen Sondheim. Take a look at this. Let's hope the change is last. Beyond woods, beyond witches and slippers and hoods, just the two of us beyond lies, safe at home with our beautiful prize. Just a few of us, it takes trust, it takes just a bit more and we're done. We want 4, we've got none, we've got 3, we need 1, it takes 2. They're so cute and beautiful. Well, they'll be here when their brand new album comes out. People Magazine is going to debut the cover, and then they will be here on the Roundtable later on this year and end of October, early November. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a special show. This was me my first day. This is my friend Christy, and that's my friend Lori. They work in another school, and this was us on the first day. See, we make the best of it. We had a good time. School's back. It's September. Let's get, you can have pumpkin spice latte eventually soon. Y'all start that in August, and I went to Walmart to get crayons, and only thing up was freaking pumpkins and bags of trick-or-treat candy. I don't want to be 39 yet. My birthday's on Halloween. Not necessary. No need to rush. No need to rush. So after 54 Below, went up to see Patty. Robbie Roselle, who's been on the show a whole bunch of times, is producing her album. So I go up to see Patty, and there's a guy there. He's so nice. He's so sweet. Oh, Janelle doesn't like pumpkin spice, nothing. And we end up talking for a while, and she's like, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Christian. And I'm like, hey, my name is Robert. And we're talking. He said, this is my wife. And I said, nice to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. We get in the elevator together, this little group, Robbie, his husband, Len, this new Christian guy, his wife, Patty, and Colin. And we take the elevator downstairs. This guy's freaking Christian Slater. So we go in the street, and Christian Slater, and we're just chatting about how great Patty is. And finally, I was like, excuse me, some people can be Broadway stars, and some people star in Interview with a Vampire. And then he was like, ha, ha, ha. He was so nice. We all realized, like, I knew who he was. Look at him. Look at Christian Slater in the hat, looking just as youthful as ever. A little salt and pepper. There's Robbie and Len. Only in New York City. Only this crazy, nutty life. What a nice guy. Really had a lot of fun with him, and we had a good chat. Let's talk real quick about shameless plug before we get over, because I'm shameless. Yes, I do have shows coming up. If you want to see me, make sure you go to robertbannon.com. Come see me. We're going to the Roundtable is going live. And we're doing a brand new show that I did one time before, but we're going to record it for a live album. It's called Rewind. It's going to be at Green Room 42 in New York City on October 22nd, a week before my birthday. So if you want to celebrate with me, we're going to have a party. We're going to have a full band and tell my story about growing up. You're not going to want to miss it, with a lot of songs you know and love, plus some new surprises for this go around. I'm so excited to have this show, and tickets are on sale. So go to robertbannon.com. Some of you already have them. And for that, I appreciate you so much. And if you're in the New Jersey area and you don't want to trek to New York, on September 18th, I'm performing with my good friend Paul Simeone. He was actually my music teacher growing up. We are over 50 tickets sold. There's less than 25 tickets left. So go to robertbannon.com for all of this fun stuff. Come see me in person. Be as crazy as I am right now on your screens. And I appreciate you all so much. If you want to support the Roundtable and are a fan of the show, please, you can Venmo at Arbannon. You can Venmo this. My mother gets so excited when I bring it up. Venmo at Arbannon, and the money goes to promote the show. Last week we had 8,000 views. Every single time that you donate the money, we go into promoting it, putting it on Google Ads, putting it into Facebook groups, and making sure we get as many views as possible. The more views we get, the better and more fun the guests get. So keep on supporting this little engine that started in the pandemic, and I'm never leaving, ever. And that's a threat. I decided to start a brand new segment. By next week, God willing, I'll have the official announcement about the Broadway lecture series, which is coming to Montclair State University. So hold on to your hat, because it's going to be a part. See, my mother loves it. She loves the money. Typical Guinea. She just is holding on to her money. It's probably in a shoebox somewhere. I love you, Mom. Let's start my new segment called Hey Friend Hey. I'll be there for you.
How you doing?
Welcome to I hate this show. I hate the show. Hey Friend Hey is a celebration of the people who've been on the show and the bookings and the work that they've been doing. I want to give a big shout out. My friend Candy Milo, who was on one of the early shows, just announced she's got a brand new memoir coming out. You can pre-order it on Amazon. She is going to be signing books and doing events at New York Comic Con and at different events. My unprofessional dog. And I got to talk to Candy, and I'm congratulating Candy. My family is here. Hence the dog's excitement. So I apologize. Also, big shout out to, you can't see this, it's so small, my friend Tretch from Naughty by Nature. He performed at my brother's wedding. He's just announced a brand new, Clarence, he just announced a brand new tour of New Jack City, live on tour with an all-star cast. If you want to know more information about that, you can go to Tretch's Instagram page or go to New Jack City on tour. And finally, come on, people. Come on, Chris Renfro. Chris Renfro from Queer as Folk, a good friend of mine, and my partner Lawrence, is going to be in a brand new movie with a trans lead. And I'm so excited for him. So congrats to Chris Renfro, and happy birthday to the one and only, the legend that is Michael Feinstein. Michael was here a couple of months ago, and today is his birthday. So we wish Michael a happy birthday. I love a new segment too, Abby. Can we play that for us one more time? Because I think of these things while I'm decorating my classroom. But this is top-notch production. I'll be there for you.
How you doing?
Dog's barking. Why are you watching? You're watching because we have a superstar, a legend, and an icon with us. Ladies and gentlemen, take a peek at a little bit of this next guest's career.
Well, I ain't scared to give my name. My name is Willie John.
What makes you think I want to go anywhere with you?
I don't think. I know.
Do you agree that a bologna sandwich is a satisfactory meal?
These gastronomical comments are irrelevant to these proceedings, Your Honor.
No, not even you. Not even you, Senator, will do that. You are bluffing.
Oh, no, Senator. I would and I will do whatever is necessary to protect America.
So, you guys come up with a name for yourselves yet?
The Temptations.
Not bad at all.
2 questions. Where's the dope? And where's the money?
And what you up in here for? It's a long story.
He killed the son bitch with a claw hammer when he was 13 years old.
So they say. A lot of people say it, though.
What's he talking about, Stan?
Let me explain.
He's on suspension. He has been for 3 months.
Suspension?
You might want to do more of a background check next time before you partner up.
We're sending one of our guys in through the air duct. Now,
If we can get the target to this phone, we got a clear shot.
Is that right?
Yes, Lieutenant, that is right.
Hey, look, man, I didn't kill anybody! You think I don't think about that kid? Every night when I close my eyes to go to sleep, for 20 years!
So you're gonna go Old Testament on me, JD?
Everything goes back to normal. And life is good for everyone. And if not, we're coming for you. What he did was a moment, but you cannot let those few seconds become your whole life. You gotta find a way to let this out, son. But I'm not going.
Pops, your doctor says you can't live by yourself.
I know what the doctor says. He said I'm dying. You think I don't know that? You think I can't feel that?
Let's see what happened after that. Oh, yeah. They got old.
Go home. Come on. This is over.
All right, so if you went to IMDb and looked up the credits that our next performer has, you'd have 222, 223. That doesn't include stage. That doesn't include all of the voiceover work. This next performer we have been watching on our stages, on our screens, in movies. You've been playing his voice in video games and cartoons. He's a little piece. He's a little piece of all of us. Oba Babatunde is here, and I'm probably just murdered his name. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Robert, it's fine. It's wonderful. It's fine. I'm thrilled to be here. And please go on with your introduction. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm just honored that you've taken the time and that your audience is going to get a chance to spend a little time with us today.
No, please, this is Emmy winner, Broadway star, singer, actor. And in his spare time, he's maybe a father, a grandfather. I don't know. He knows how to ride horses. He does sign language. He's a rodeo. Like, I mean, do you sleep? When do you sleep? Well, can we, we've had some of your esteemed co-stars on here through the years. Including, and may I start? I know you're a New Yorker. I'm a Jersey guy, so I'm like I'm the uncool New Yorker. You, your start in the city. When did the bug hit you to be an actor and to be an artist?
Thank you for asking that question. Just a quick oversight of how it started and how it came about. In my last year of high school, born and raised in New York, I went to high school, and I wrote my last year of high school. I started to write poetry. And then when my first year of college, I took and I expanded those poems into one-act plays, which I produced, directed, starred in, and cast other cast members from the classrooms. And that was sort of my introduction into theater. And so, I previously had been a musician. Right there. Here's my phone. Right.
I hear you. I know there's a little. It's better.
Okay, that's better. Yeah. I had been a musician. I started my first professional career was as a musician at 14 years old. I had my first professional job, and so I was involved in music always. I sang, but I didn't let people know that I sang because my singing voice, even as a youngster, was very much the way it was as I matured. And they would make fun of me. They would go, "Who do you think you are? Sinatra?" You know what I mean? And so I did. So when I started doing theater, I was doing straight plays only. And then musicals, I'm fast forwarding, but then musicals started to become lucrative for Black performers in New York. There was a lot of opportunity. So I started going in and auditioning for musicals. And that was sort of how the musical career, because then it was like, I didn't know you could sing. We knew you could, but I studied dance because I was there in New York. And when you were there in New York, at that particular time, they were all one way you had to do it all. You really had to do it all because the competition was steep, you know? And so fortunately, you know, I had, I always tell this funny story. I was athletic. And I danced. I could dance just as a person dancing, but I hadn't studied dance. So I went to a beautiful lady. Her name was Thelma Hill. She was a wonderful teacher. And she said, okay, baby, you dance very well. Let me see your first position. And I said, well, Miss Hill, what is that? So she said, put your feet together and then open your toes out, and that's your first. And okay, let me see your second position. So then she put my legs and she says, now plie. Well, Robert, I did a deep knee bend. She said, darling, we're going to have to spend some time with you. I worked with her. She gave me the foundation that I will never forget about position, poise, my athletic ability, helped me with my balance and my turning, so forth and so on. I then worked with many of the great teachers there in New York, you know, and all the different styles of dance. I mean, to be able to go from doing a deep knee bend to being able to be choreographed by the great Bob Fosse and learning his technique and being able to be proficient in it was a long journey. But as we'll talk about today, the journey of the dance and the singing and the acting for me is all one.
Yes, and because it's art, you're an artist, and
yes, I am.
And you tell stories and evoke human behavior through all the mediums. That is the most inspiring thing to me. That's why I'm such a joy to talk to you. I just spoke to the other day someone who's in Chicago right now on Broadway. She's Velma Kelly. Her name's Lana Gordon. She was talking about working with Bob Fosse. You do Guys and Dolls with Leslie Uggams. You and somehow through, and I can't wait to hear how you end up working with Liza herself. As a child, my little Italian grandmother in Fort Lee, New Jersey, had a VHS tape of Liza, Sammy, and Frank, the main event at the Fox Theater in Detroit. That was a pay-per-view. I was obsessed. It was the only thing I wanted to see. What was it like working with her, with Fosse, and being what an introduction or a chapter of showbiz history that is to be there.
Talking about connecting the dots. Now watch this. So I'm doing Guys and Dolls. Debbie Allen, Leslie Uggams, Richard Roundtree, a host of brilliant, talented people. And that came to a pen, and I then went and auditioned for Timbuktu, directed by Jeffrey Holder and choreographed as well, starring Eartha Kitt and William Marshall. And again, Gilbert Price, a host of brilliant talent, cast of 1,000. And I'm doing that. Now, Jeffrey said to me one day in rehearsal, baby, darling, I always wanted to have a man open my show on stilts. Can you do that? I had never been on stilts in my life, Robert. And I said, of course, Jeffrey, I'll do that. So I taught myself how to walk on stilts. I started with painter stilts and got myself a balance. Then I built stilts. I created the costume. And so when the show opened, it would open me 15 feet in the air on stilts. Melba Moore is in this show. Yes, Eartha Kitt, as I said, Gilbert Price, a host of just brilliant talent. And the way the show would open is the act curtain, because you're theater, so I know you'll get this. The act curtain would be in. And they would fill the behind the act curtain up with smoke. And the Moezzins, they would be in 4 corners of the theater at the Minskoff Mark Hellinger Theater, and they would begin to sing from outside in the audience, up in the top of the balcony, all four corners of the theater. And then as the last note would be sung, the act curtain would begin to go out, and the smoke would billow out from underneath the act curtain and would reveal a head 15 feet in the air walking across. That was me on those stilts. And as that smoke billowed out, you would then reveal me and the whole costume, right? And then out of that, I would dance on these stilts, and I would turn, and I had a eulocarry, which is like a horsehair stick with horsehair on the end of it. And I would gesture, and then out of the smoke, Melba would sit up. And that was how, and then you'd hear, Marcina, which was William Marshall's voice. And I would, and then we would go, and you hear, barbos, bangles, hear how they ring, ring-a-ling-a, wearing barbos, bangles, and beads. And the whole stage would come alive with a marketplace. That was how that show opened. And it started with that one figure going across the stage, 15 feet in the air. Now, moving forward, so I'm in a scene with, the name of the show, the song was Gesticulate. Now, the show was named Timbuktu, but it was really Kismet in Africa, in Timbuktu. So that's what Timbuktu is. It's actually Kismet. So the song Gesticulate. In this particular number, the entire cast is on stage. For some odd reason, Liza Minnelli and her choreographer are in the audience. They see, for whatever reason, I guess, me doing what I'm doing. The next day, I don't know Liza's in the audience. Nobody did. They didn't tell her. She didn't come backstage. The next day, there's a note on the board, on the call board. It says, call Liza. I thought somebody's playing a joke. I crumbled it up, threw it in the trash. The day after, there's another note on the board, call Oba, call Liza. So I said to the stage door guy, I said, who keeps, and he was a classic old time stage door guy. He had a cigar about that big. He had a cap on. He was about 4'2", and he says to me, look, I answer the phone. I write the message down. Call, don't call. It don't matter to me, right? So I call. I go, hello. Somebody says hello. I said, let me talk to Liza, like that. Who's calling, please? Oba Babatunde. One moment, please. A female voice. Hello? Who is this? Liza? Liza who? She says, Minnelli. I go, okay, wait a minute. You're doing a show at the Minskoff. I mean, at the what is it? The Majestic. I said, and the name of the show, your show is The Act. I want to come and meet you if this is really you. She says, okay. I said, okay. This was on a Sunday. I said, after the show, I'm coming. She says, okay. Hang up the phone. After my show, I go over there. Just go to the stage door. I said, I'm here to see Liza. They said, 1 minute. Who's calling? Who's asking? I said, Oba Babatunde. Oba Babatunde is at the front door, stage door. Somebody comes, which I later identified. He was the choreographer, Ron Lewis. Takes me back. And there she sits in her dressing room. And I'm like, it really is you. She said, hi. I said, hi. She said, I saw you, my choreographer and I saw you in your show. You're wonderful. When I finish this, I'm going to be doing a world tour. I'm looking for one person to join Roger Minami, who's also in the show with me. He's Ron's lead dancer. And would you be willing to come and audition tomorrow? I said, yeah. So Robert, I go the next day, Miss Scoff Rehearsal Studios. It's like 100 to 110 guys in the room. I got my dance clothes. I walk right to the front of the line, and they're eliminating us 10 at a time. Bop, 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 bop. Gets down to 4 of us. Bang. Now it's down to 2 of us. And they said, okay, now you 2 now will go. Liza's not in that room. She says, now you will go and you will talk to Liza and you'll meet her. So we go into the next room, and there sits Fred Ebb, John Kander, Roger was in there, the choreographer took us in, and Liza. And now we get up and they go, we'd like you to dance with Liza. So now they start giving us a different combination with Liza. Robert, I'm watching her, man. Every move she makes, I'm making my body move just like hers, man. And we get the choreography down, and then we have to dance. They say 5, 6, 7, 8, bang, we hit it. They go, okay, great. Now we need you guys to sing. Who wants to go first? I said, let the gentleman go first. I walk out of the room. He sings. He finishes. He comes out, and they said, okay, Oba. And I come in, and I'll never forget, I was auditioning with the song from The Wiz, If You Believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I had all these hand gestures that I used to do. So I start, if you believe within your heart, you'll know that no one can change the path that you must go. Believe what you feel. And Fred said, put his hand up like that. He says, and John was playing, John Cannon. So yeah, I know. So he says, you have a lovely voice. Put your hands behind your back and sing it again, and don't move. So I put my hands behind my back. I start singing, and my hands want to move, you know. And I finished singing, and he said, thank you. And he looked at Liza and said, I've made my choice. John turned around from the piano and goes, wow, wow. I made my choice. Liza said, I made my choice. Who's going to tell the person in the hallway? So they called the other person in, and they said, we want to thank you very much for coming. And he went, what? Oh, really? Oh, it's like that? And he stormed off, got his dance bag, threw it on his shoulder, and slammed the door. And they went, woo! We just dodged a bullet. And that's how that came about with Liza and the tour. Now, to talk about, to connect the dots, go back, turn the page back. Before I was in even Guys and Dolls, Bob Fosse had Pippin on Broadway. They were replacing Ben Vereen, and they were going to replace Ben. So Northern Calloway was going to go in, and then they were looking for someone to do the national tour to play that role. I went and auditioned. I'm out there singing, and from the back of the house, now this is the Minskoff Theater, which is where I ended up doing Timbuktu for the audition. But I am singing, and from the back of the house, the dark theater, envision this, Robert, this dark theater, a figure walks out, cigarette hanging from his lip, walks up to the front of the stage, puts his hands on the stage, and is looking at me, and I'm singing. And he goes, beckons to the piano player, the audition pianist, to stop playing. And he looks at me and he says, where have you been my whole life? right? And I'm like, huh. And he said, do you dance? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Fosse. And I begin to just improv dance. I start doing backflips, everything I could think of. And he goes, have him come back tomorrow for the final callbacks. I want you to open my national company. Be here tomorrow. So the next day, I go back. But the auditions are at the L'Enfontaine at that time. I get there. There's a note on the door that says rehearsal auditions for Pippin have been moved to the Minskoff. Now there's the Minskoff Theater and there's the Minskoff Rehearsal Studios. I go to the theater. There's nobody there. I said, I'm here for the audition. The guy was so kind. He said, there's nobody here. I said, no. Mr. Fosse asked me to come tomorrow, and that's today. And he took me inside. He says, look, there's nobody here. I didn't know about the Minskoff Rehearsal Studios. I only knew that there was the theater. So it didn't happen. Years later, I'm doing the world tour with Liza. Bob Fosse comes and goes, hey, I remember you. You stood me up. He goes, I wanted you to open my national tour. He says, but clearly, I'm quoting, clearly you didn't need my show. You're doing okay. Fast forward, we'll get, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but these are backstage theater stories. You know what I mean?
This is why I'm here. I am living. Go, please.
Now, then, okay, we'll jump into how I do Dreamgirls. But after Dreamgirls, I am asked to come and be the standby for Ben Vereen in a show directed by Hal Prince on Broadway called, what was the name of the show? But it's also being, this is dots connecting. I'll get the name of the show in a second, but it's also being done at the Mark Hellinger, where I had done Timbuktu, right? So it's starring Stubby K, the original Stubby K, right? The original Nicely from Guys and Dolls. Joey Faye, right? Lilani Jones, and Ben Vereen. So I go and I'm the standby. Now the standby, so that for those that may not understand this, standby is usually someone that's brought in who has celebrity that if the star can't go on, they will bring that person in. It's different than the understudy who is in the show. So I had counted 3 put-in rehearsals with just the stage manager, never the cast. I happened to go by the theater on a Saturday for the matinee, and the stage manager jokingly says, who happened to be a guy named Don Correa, who was also the stage manager for Timbuktu. He says, hey, Oba, listen, Ben says he's not feeling well. You may have to go on. Well, they didn't even have costumes or anything for me. I had never had a put-in rehearsal. And so I go up to Ben's dressing room. I knock on the door. It's about, 20 minutes of 2. And I say, hey, man, how you feeling? He goes, well, I don't know, man. It's a couple of muscles, aches, and pains. I don't know. You might have to jump in, man. So I'm like, he says, but I'll let you know in 10 minutes. Well, that would have been 10 minutes before a curtain. So I go up. Now I'm trying to think of the lines. Now, I had been going and watching the show. Okay. So the orchestra starts up. Oh, good. Okay, he's fine. All right. I go down. I'm sitting in the stage manager's office. Show's going on. All of a sudden, the door flies open. The dance captain and the stage manager, production stage manager, stand. They go. He says he can't continue. Can you do it? I go. Guys, you don't even have a wardrobe. They go. We'll just improvise. He says he can't continue. Robert, they never stopped the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vereen has been injured in the course of the performance. His standby, Oba Babatunde, will take in his place. The audience goes, oh. I said, yeah.
Opportunity. That,
okay, right. Now, I don't say this for anything but the fact of the story. I'm not being braggadocious. They had not received a standing ovation ever, not even on opening night. The show had problems. But I was able to see what they were. I hit, bam, first act, intermission, second act, unanimous standing ovation. Next, Oba, you're on again tonight. That was Saturday night. Now I'm right from the gate, bam, out the shooter, here I come. Unanimous standing ovation. Orchestra, balcony, mezzanine, orchestra, mezzanine, balcony. That was Saturday. Sunday, Oba, you're on. Okay. Monday, day off. Tuesday, Oba, you're on. Wednesday, Oba, you're on. Matinee. In between shows, Suzanne Sampson, who was one of the producers, comes after the matinee. She says, can I take you out for a drink after the show? I said, yes, of course. You know, we go out. We go to a little place next door. I'm having cranberry juice. I'll never forget this. I'm having cranberry juice. She's having whatever she's having, her cocktail. And we're talking, and she says, you know, they're all saying to me, you know, you're a bitch, Suzanne, because you said when you auditioned, I told them you were the one for it. And but you know, they were going with the bank with Vereen. I said, well, you know, Ben's a great performer, blah, 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 blah. I said, you know, listen, I really can't stay up too late because I may have to be on tomorrow. She says, I might be, quote, I might be telling tales out of school, but you're on from now on. And that's how that came about. And that's when I got the quote, Babatunde, Broadway's new blue chip. Grind was the name of the production. Oba, grand and grind. I mean, and that's how I do that. Now, the connection to Bob was Bob had done a specialty number for Ben. So I got a chance then to work with him. Now, after all those years, he says, so we finally get a chance to get back together. All right, let's try this. And boom, we start working. And this was a number that was, I mean, it was the most difficult dance number that you could probably imagine. I had to swing round poles and run up steps and jump out of windows. And, you know, it was just but a wonderful number. It was called New Man, right? He got a new man. You know what I mean? So that's now, in that one question, how we see Liza connected to Bob, connected to Hal Prince, connected to Ben Vereen, connected to all of these people, you know. And then, you know, of course, I got an opportunity with, because I was with Liza, I was asked to do the Baryshnikov on Broadway television special. So I get a chance to dance with Baryshnikov. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the journey is just really magnificent. And we haven't even talked about scratching the surface of all these other things and with Dreamgirls.
No, not even, we haven't even started. That's the
first question.
I had to ask Liza about Liza because I grew up with her. I love her to pieces. You can listen to you and your work. It's out now on vinyl. The tour is out. You can order a copy.
Listen, here's the beautiful thing about that is it is the recorded version of what we did at Carnegie Hall in 1979. Now, prior to us playing Carnegie Hall, her mother held the record for the longest running show at Carnegie Hall. We broke that record. So to have been a part of that, and I'm so glad, you know, that, you know, you speak about Liza. She is so dear to me. Till this moment as we speak, my heart, she owns real estate in my heart, because she opened a door for me that changed the trajectory of my life and my career. My career is certainly then, my life in the entertainment industry. A great human being. This woman turned the stage over to me by myself while she made a costume change. The only one time she would leave the stage, and she said, "It's on you." Are you kidding me? In a world tour? I mean, just the best. And that's pre-Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
You see? Because it started in 1978. She also afforded me the introduction to my entertainment mentor, Mr. Sammy Davis Jr.
The greatest entertainer of ever.
May I share a story with you about that?
Can I be so honored to hear it, please?
So here we are. We're at Harrods in Lake Tahoe. Sammy is going to be doing his world tour at the same time we're doing ours. So we're either going to proceed or follow one another into the different venues. I had never met Mr. D, as I affectionately refer to him. And it was our last night, and he was opening the next night at Harrods. And I get a knock on the door. She says, "It's Liza." She says, "Oh, Sam's here. He wants to meet you. I told him all about you." I said, "Okay, but can he see me after he see me work? Can I meet him then?" And she said, "Well, he's not going to stay for the show. His gums are bothering him." So I said, "Okay, I'll come in." I walk in, Robert, and he's getting something out of the cooler. And he turns around, and I said, "How do you do, Mr. Davis?" And he says, "Sam, man, call me Sam." And I said, "Well, I could never call you Sam." But he says, "Liza tells me you're marvelous. She says you're sensational. And I'm not going to see the show tonight. My gums are bothering me." And then he goes on, and I said, "Okay, well," he says, "but I'll see you while we're on tour." Well, we go on, we do the show. Midway through the show, I come off after cellophane, which is what I did on the tour by myself. And Helen, Liza's dresser, says, "Oba, Liza said to tell you that Sammy stayed." Well, I was going to do my show anyway. After the show, I hear in the hallway, "Marvelous, hun. Where's Oba's dressing room?" "Down the hall." There's a knock on the door. "It's Sam, man." I opened the door, and there he stood. He looked at me, Robert, and he says, "You, my man, are a bitch on wheels." A bitch on wheels. He came in. He began to pay me a lot of beautiful, kind compliments. And I get emotional when I tell the story because it's really powerful. But I said to him, I said, "Mr. D, I want to thank you, sir, for coming in through the kitchen so I could come in through the front door." He looked at me, tear rolled down his face. He grabbed me and he hugged me and he said, "Thank you for that." And I said, "I'm sure you hear it a lot." He said, "Man, I could never hear it enough." From that day to his passing in 90, we became friends. He kind of put his arm around me. We would see each other whenever he was going to be somewhere. He took me to, they were doing this thing at the Apollo Theater. It was called the Apollo, the first 25 years. And so anybody that had, for the first 25 years of the Apollo Theater, they were having this. So they had the Nicholas brothers, they had Copacetic, they had Sarah Vaughan, they had Billy Eckstein. And he took me as his guest and he gave me his name tag and he says, "Put this on, nobody will tell you anything." And I got a chance to spend a lot of time with him, be at his house for parties. he introduced me to Leslie Bricusse,
Ah,
which then later on, I get to be doing Sammy, playing Sammy at the Old Globe Theater with Leslie Bricusse being the author for all of the music. So the connection of these dots are just really, you know, I always say, when people say, man, what are you working on now? And I tell them, I said, but that's just the pearl. I said, the pearl is the gig, but it is the string of pearls, the multiple gigs that make the string of pearls. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the string of pearls. The string of pearls represents a career. A job, a gig represents a gig. And it's what you do with that that turns it into a pearl. And then you attach it and attach it and attach it and attach it and attach it, you know. And I've got stories that could go on and on and on and on about how this career has formulated. You know?
Well, just, I mean, my goosebumps. I was a kid that when I first started singing in 7th grade, I walked into chorus class and said, I want to audition, and said, I'm going to sing I've Got to Be Me. And what kind of fool am I? Like Sammy Davis Jr. and his interpretation of music.
Yes.
That is the greatest. He's the greatest. So hearing your stories inspires me as a performer, and the generosity and kindness of the greatest performers of all time. They're kind and generous. They stay, and you're doing the same.
Well, thank you, Robert. You know, you're absolutely correct. And what a brilliant statement to make. The kindness and generosity. Mr. D was never too busy to stop and shake a fan's hand. And if he were involved in doing something, he would say, please forgive me. I need to do this, but thank you for wanting to say hello. I've adopted that. Another funny story, I'm with Liza, we're doing this tour. We were in Dallas, Texas. We would do 4 shows, take 2 days to rest, and then we would travel and go to the next venue. And we did this all over the world. We're in Dallas, Texas. It's the 4th show, and I'm coming in, and there's a young girl at the stage door, and she goes, hi, Oba. Well, she had been there at every show. And I said, hi. I said, you here again tonight? She goes, it's sold out. And I jokingly said, you've seen it so many times you could be in it. I went inside, put my bag down, and for nothing other than I'll call a random act of kindness, I go out, I say to security, hey, she's with me, let her in. I take her in. I sit her in a chair in the wings. I said, stay out of everybody's way, have a good time. I didn't see her after the show, and not again. Fast forward 20 years later. 20 years later. I'm trying to get into this movie called Life, starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. They won't see me. Oh, no, there's nothing in it. Yes. There's nothing in it for Oba. I'm like, hey, look, it's about some black men on a work camp. Let me in the room, please. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it. So we let it go. 2 weeks after, my agent called and said, hey, Oba, they want to see you for that movie. I go in, casting director sitting there, uninterested. She goes, well, we're going to put you on tape. Ted Demme is on the telephone. He says, he's directing. He's like, yeah, I can see. And so I go on tape. I do this character. It's the 3rd lead in the movie. It's the narrator. I get a call from the agent. Hey, oh, you booked it. Great. Wow. Wonderful. Go to work. On my way to the set on the first day, I'm leaving my trailer, and a woman walks up to me. Hi, how do you do? My name is Tina Fortenberry. And I said, oh, nice to meet you. She says, I'm the associate to the UPM, Jim Brubaker. I said, oh, nice to meet you. She says, well, we met actually twice before. She said, you were in the movie Philadelphia. I said, yes. She says, I was a PA on that movie. It was the first time again. I said, oh, wow, that's great, man. Yeah, it was so cold in Philly when we made that movie. It was great. She says, yes, but the first time I met you, you did something very nice for me. I'm a huge fan of Liza Minnelli. And I was at the stage door, and I said, wait a minute. You were that little girl I put in the chair? She said, yes. She said, and I saw your name on the list, and I didn't know why they wouldn't bring you in. And every day I would go in and say, he's really good. You should bring him in. She says, now, for whatever reason, I think that the casting director didn't want me to come in. I swear to you. She said, I don't think the casting director wanted me to come in there and say that again, so they brought you in. Then Brian Grazer saw you and go, that's the guy I want. And that's how it came about. But look at this. From a random act of kindness, that's talking about the resolve of paying it forward. And you don't know when it's coming back, but it is. It is.
Oh, but that is a whole word. That is a whole, that is, it may not happen right away. And you didn't do it for the payoff. She was a little girl. But look at the connection of that.
Yes. The reciprocity comes because people always talk about karma as being something that's negative, not good. But it doesn't always work just on the basis of that. It works no matter what you put out, it's coming back.
Amen.
So put out the right thing.
Amen. Well, you know, we talked about Liza, we talked about Sammy. Eddie Murphy, as a child, again, here I go again, this little artsy, nerdy kid.
Yes.
Me and my brother, we would get every DVD Eddie Murphy ever made, and we would collect them and watch them on Saturdays together. So I am very familiar with life. I am very familiar with you from life. And when we talked about having this interview, and I'm sure people recognize you from many different projects.
Right.
That's what I recognized you from right away was Life, because that's what we watched growing up. Never mind not even knowing that this gentleman is the original We Are a Family, and like that is you.
Yes.
That is, you are CeCe, you are Michael Bennett's Dreamgirls. We had the extreme honor about a month ago to have Miss Holiday herself on to talk about
wonderful.
While we're connecting this story, how did this happen?
I'm so glad that we're getting a chance to talk about that. First of all, let me say, there we are.
There you are.
To be a part of this company. Dreamgirls, as I'm sure Jennifer told you, was created in a workshop. We must pay tribute and salutation to Tom Ian, because it's Tom Ian's brainchild. And Henry Krieger did the composition of the music. But we did a workshop. We did 4 workshops. We were the second company to ever do a workshop. The first was a chorus line. So the first was a chorus line, was created a show in a workshop. Dreamgirls was the second. There was only allowed 3 workshops. We went on and did 4. Now, the original cast for the workshop, Jennifer, Shirley Ralph, Loretta Devine, Clevant Derricks, Ben Harney, Don Correa, and myself. Don Correa is who is married, was married then, and still married now, to Sandy Duncan. Okay? Now, so we played all of the parts. The workshops were done in 6-week groupings. Jennifer was 19 years old. We were theater veterans. She wasn't. And so the drama can get a little high during rehearsals. People screaming at you, yelling at you. Jennifer was not accustomed to that. So Jennifer said, thank you very much after the first 6 weeks. and she left. She quit. So they brought in another young lady because these roles, these characters were being built on us. They brought in another young lady. Wasn't the essence, because we had already heard her sing. And I'm telling you, and Robert, when I tell you that woman sang that song off the piece of paper reading it, then the way she would sing it at night, we were picking chairs up, turning the tables over. Girls, go ahead and sing that song. Stop. You better quit it up. I mean, we went nuts the very first time we heard her do this. Powerful then. So then that young lady in that second workshop didn't work out. They brought in Jennifer Lewis for the third workshop. Not the same essence. Also, a lot of people don't know that in that workshop was Estelle Getty. Estelle Getty, because the story was going to go, well, Effie's character was going to go to work for an aging woman in a private setting, and Estelle Getty was that woman. And this is all the maturations of the show. But again, Jennifer Lewis, wonderful, but not the same in essence as Jennifer Holliday. So Michael was the producer of the workshop. He wasn't the director of the workshop. He was the producer of the workshop. But he was going to come in and direct it as the show. So he came in, and the way Tom had written it and put it together, Dreamgirls is written like a film in frames. It's not like a classic Broadway musical. So it wasn't working, and he was going to disband it. And Tom went to him and said, give it back to me for another 4 weeks. Don't give up on this show. This is going to be the greatest show of your career. He said, okay. And he gave it back to us. And then they brought in we had the sing through for all the prospective producers. Elena Reed did that reading. Quincy Jones was there. David Geffen was there. David Foster was there. The Schubert's organization, which at that time was Bernie Jacobs and Jerry Schoenfeld, were there. And we did it. Bernie and Jerry had already heard Jennifer sing in that first workshop. They told Michael, go get that girl that sang that song, and we'll produce the show. They went back, and he begged Jennifer to come back. Jennifer came back. But before she came back, the way it had gone was, this is real theater history. A lot of people don't even know this story. So, you may never hear it again, but I'm telling you the fact, the way this went down. So what happened was, Jennifer, it was written that the character was going to die in the end of the first act. And that's how the new girl would come in the second act, there would be no Effie. Jennifer's management said, nope. If Effie's character dies, we don't do the show. So that's how come the record war for the second act begets the maturation of that, so that, and CC saying, come back and sing my song, da, 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 da. The rest is history. Debbie Burrell came in as Michelle. There was, in the workshop, there was a girl named, what was her name? But she sang, there was a song called I'm the New Girl. And it went, I'm the new girl. They don't seem to need you no more. I'm the new girl. Your style doesn't fit anymore. And she would sing this song, and I'm staying, yes, I'm staying around. Bump, There you are, Effie. That's how that. So that got changed. So I'm giving you the tea on how this thing really came about. That's. But I want to say this for the world to understand. Jennifer Holliday. First of all, we owe a debt of gratitude to her because what she gave to that production was what helped it make it monumental, and it changed. And Michael Bennett, you can't take anything from him. He put that team together of Theron Munzer, Theone Aldridge, and Robin Wagner. Lighting, set, and costume, where it was one of the first times that they all worked together as one. It was the first time that any piece of stage equipment had moved on a stage without a human turning it. So it revolutionized the American theater. Dreamgirls did. None of it had never happened before, where set pieces turned 360 degrees up and down across stage. Okay, before Dreamgirls, it had never happened. Okay, so that's why it revolutionized the American theater. But I want to say, for the world to hear me say this, that woman, Jennifer Holliday, performed that song every single night with everything she had. And that gasp was not an affectation. It was a true gasp for the last breath that she had in her body. And when she would say, me, and when that palette would go upstage and that tinsel curtain would come in, Ben Harney and I would have to come side by side, put our arms underneath her, and physically, literally help her to her dressing room. She was spent because she gave everything she had, every single performance. 8 shows a week, baby. That ain't a recording. 8 shows a week, twice on Wednesday and twice on Saturday. And she never phoned it in. She gave it everything she had every single time. She became like my sister. That whole thing. See, there's so much history. We could do a whole show on the history that people don't know. Like so many people that do the production, because they don't know about what the history was of the workshop, there's a lot of information you don't know. You don't know. You know that CC and Effie are brother and sister. But what you don't know is that they didn't have the same mother and father.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
that's why it's deeper when he says, and they were raised by their auntie. And that's why that's the backstory. That's why when he says, it's more than you, it's more than me. No matter what we are a family. We're not alone anymore. Now there are others there. And that dream is big enough for all of us to share. So don't think you're not going anywhere. You're staying and taking your share. And if you get afraid again, I'll be there. That's why he comes back and says, Effie, sing my song the way it should be. Because before there was a Curtis, CC was the Curtis for the group. That's why when they go to the Apollo Theater, he's the one that's coordinating everything. You see, so there's a lot of backstory that you don't know about. The costumes, the reason that Dina, they talk about Dina, mother making the costumes, was born out of the fact that Shirley Ralph's mother was a person that had a clothing store in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. She had a factory. So we were taking things from our actual lives and putting them into this production. Okay, there's a lot of history of each of our lives that are in Dreamgirls. So, you know, but just that little tidbit that you understand the depth of the relationship between CC and his sister. It's because they were all they had. And she said, they bought your ass too?
Yes, I know
Right?
it. I know, yes.
But you see, you're saying, how could they gotten you? You're my. It was just. You know what I mean? It's more than you. It is more than me. No matter what we are a family. You see, that's why that song is tender as a mother's prayer.
It's gorgeous.
Because it's a moment where he's begging her. And that's the only reason she agrees to do it. It's the only reason she agrees to do it.
It's for him.
It's for him.
Oh, but that's what's so beautiful about this conversation with you is because the dramaturgy of it, the backstory that all your behavior, all of the homework you guys did, it shows us now the journey that the show took. I said to her, and I'm saying to you, I could go back in time and see any moment in theater history. The opening night or one of those shows, that building had to erupt.
Baby, I am telling you, the hinges were coming off the doors. I mean, and also you got to remember, we had to the tower moves were also part of rehearsal, and it was the first time we were in Boston in the pre-Broadway tour when one night that cue where the table goes upstage, it went off early and it started to back up, and Cheryl Lee Ralph's shoe got caught in it and she ripped her foot out of her shoe and it chewed the shoe up. It could have been her foot. I mean, and the show went right on. Bop, bop, bop. I'm telling you, other times, even when we were on stage in New York, one night the towers came in and they had somebody different. The guy was running it. I'll never forget him. His name was Floyd. And maybe Floyd had tipped a couple little kids. And the tower, because there was two controls. One controlled the speed. The other setting controlled when they would stop and turn. Somehow Floyd, I think, got the two confused. And the towers went bam! And then and crunched like this. Drew, one of our great stagehands, while we were doing the show, was up on top of the scaffold with a wrench trying to undo them so that they could turn it and push it off stage so the show never stopped. This is the kind of stuff that theater is made of, that you just don't even know about.
Yes. Well, listen, you have 200, like I said, 200 and something TV and film credits, more. But when I saw you, I mean, I've watched you my whole life and all sorts of things. But when I was like the Dreamgirls, the Liza, the Broadway, the theater, the music, the dancing, the Fosse, like that's the foundation that was laid for you, that lets you lead you to everything else. Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Will we be able to have a part 2 where we can talk about TV and film? Because I wanted to just divulge into the theater, but I want to talk to you about my buddy Anna Maria Horsford and you on The Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh, I love her.
I love
her.
I wanted to talk to you about Dear White People. We've had a lot of the cast on this show from Dear White People. I wanted to. He's the dean. He's not always the nicest guy on that show. And I wanted to talk to you about and we've had a lot of voiceover work too. And I wanted to talk to you about that amazing voice and what it's like to transition to video games and TV. I could talk to you for 10 hours, Oba.
It's a long career. So yes, I would be happy to, if you would invite me back, we can come back and we can talk about all of that stuff. We may, after we get into it, because you see all the little stories, we may need a part 3. So
I'm ready.
Whenever you know how to reach me, reach out. And thank you so much for this.
No, I want to thank you because and as you said to Mr. Davis himself, as a performer, as a child who looked up to artists, who lived by that Broadway cast recording, who lived on the VHS tapes of the work that you have done through TV and film and theater. You gave a lot of joy to millions of people, including myself. And I hope that you can understand the impact all of your hard work and dedication has made for all of us. It's with utmost thanks and gratitude for all of your work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Those words do not fall on deaf ears. I appreciate it because I have been very fortunate to receive a lot of nice awards, but I always say that I am more interested in the reward. And what you just told me and what you just said, that is the reward. Because they say if you've been able to affect change in someone's life in your walk, your living has not been in vain. And so by you telling me what you just said as it relates to you, I know that my living has not been in vain. And I thank you so much, Robert.
Millions.
I thank you so much. Continue to do all that you do, giving us an opportunity to come on the show and to speak to others. And again, invite me back and I'll be happy to do it.
It's happening. It's my pleasure. And guess when that is? That's tomorrow. So everybody that's writing, a couple of questions and answers to your questions while I've got you here. He does do a great impersonation of Sammy Davis Jr. This was not live. This was taped last week, 2 weeks ago, and we went over an hour. And then we speak for another hour and a half that will be aired tomorrow. We speak for 90 minutes about television and film and how he transitioned with Jonathan Demme and made Married to the Mob and turned that into Philadelphia and Manchurian Candidate and into television. And it is a master class. My face, Marie, which we talked about you in the beginning of the show, is astonishment because his career is astonishing. He's a part of the history of all these mediums, for sure. Conrad, I've gotten to know Oba a little bit as well, and I can't imagine a better man and a better blessing for you in your career. And as a man and gentleman of this world that he is such a generous spirit, and he just loves his art so much. Yeah, tomorrow. Yes, part 2 and part 3. Part 2 tomorrow. If you want to know what it's like to work with Michelle Pfeiffer, if you want to know what it's like to work with Denzel Washington, if you want to know what it's like to work with Ray Liotta, if you want to know what it's like to work with all of those amazing performers and more, tomorrow is your day. So join me at 7 o'clock. Oba Babatunde is here for 90 minutes straight. 90 minutes straight through. And hey, I may even throw in a story or two about my first day with my students. Everybody who joined us today, thank you for spending over an hour with me. And thank you for joining me again tomorrow. Don't miss part 2. If you're a film actor, if you're a TV actor, if you're a fan of TV and film, this is going to be for you. That story about Sammy Davis Jr., or the moment when he sings, "We are a family like a giant tree, reaching out for the sky." I can't. Boo-hoo. I got to take a piece of that and put it on Instagram because that is history. Join me tomorrow. Everybody, thanks so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. Check out robertbannon.com. And I look forward to hearing more from you. As always, send me a message, DM me, send me any information you want. And the best is yet to come. I will see you all then. God bless you. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody. You're the best.